Good morning, Strivers. Hope you are well. I am well. I'm up early. I've been up since about 5:15. Went to the gym, so looking a bit rough, and I have a hat on because I need a haircut. But just wanted to say good morning and talk about today's scripture. Job, um, and his complaint. One of the biggest complaints against God in the Bible. There's a whole chapter about Job complaining to God about his condition and his um, and God's failure to reign on the unjust and help out those who serve Him. Um, it's an interesting passage, an interesting chapter. I found myself reflecting a lot in the, or not reflecting, but kind of feeling the way Job does a lot, especially in these times. Job was, down and out. His friends are telling him, just believe God. Just all you got to do is just believe God. Have faith and, just blindly follow. And Job was like, no, this is too much. He has taken from me. I am sick. Everything around me is falling apart and he is silent. And Job was a just man and he was righteous before God, and that's what we find that out because that's why Satan chose him. Because while God and Satan made the deal, because God was like, well, he's faithful to me, so he ain't gonna do nothing. He's not gonna go anywhere. So Job stood to be one of those holy and righteous people, who never seemed to do any wrong. Yet God allowed all this stuff to happen to him, and not only that, God was silent. So Job bucked up and said, if you be God, if you say you're going to be God, be God. And one of the commentaries was, it was interesting that, let me read it. I love this commentary. It was talking about just kind of the rebellion and how what was Job's complaint? He said, Job offers the most scathing indictment to God's justice that occurs in the Bible. He begins with a critical question that authentic faith prevents no innocent sufferer to leave unasked. Why do those who know God never see the judgment that God promises? Why do the wicked run free, leaving their victims to cry out for help to a God who sees nothing wrong with the way the world is working? Sound familiar? Why do those who rebel against the light have license to subvert the moral order of the cosmos by using darkness as a cover for their criminality? So I think that's a question that we all have oftentimes. Like, why is all this bad stuff happening? And the interesting thing about this chapter is there's no resolve. Like, there's resolve. God speaks later with the "where were you" speeches, but there was no resolve about this chapter. It was basically a relent, or just kind of Job venting about everything that's happening and God not answering. And to make matters even worse, he didn't answer. Still, but I think faith is also about rebellion against the norm. It's normal for people to say, just believe God, just hold on to faith, just this, that, and the other. But no, I think sometimes faith requires you to tilt the scales a little bit, to move the needle and say, God, if you be God, then you need to show me. You need to step out and be God and show yourself mighty and strong. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of doing every single thing right. I'm tired of going to church 7 days a week and serving you and giving my last dime in tithes and being at the church, turning the church lights out. So I'm tired of it. Yet you don't say anything. You don't do anything on my behalf, or you just ask more of me. than you're willing to give to me? And that is a fair question. I stand here to tell you it's a fair question. I did that earlier this year. Like, you ask all this stuff, and you push me into these positions, um, and you just remain silent. And I'm kind of, I kind of try to tread lightly on the subject, but tread lightly on this, when I say this, but I don't think God has thick skin, and He wants us to challenge Him. He wants us to remind us who He is, so then He can work, and that's where our faith is, and that's where kind of a rebellious faith is. Is that, yeah, we're going to believe, but we're going to challenge everything that you do, and make sure that you show up like you say you're going to show up, and and fulfill the promises that you said you were going to fulfill. Short of blaspheming and short of cussing Him out and things like that, those are the things that we're allowed to do because we're human, and He knows it. And I think one of the kind of the interesting closing arguments of the commentator was that, he poses a question. It says, could it be that rebellion is a form of faith that teaches even God what it means to love justice and not forsake His faithful ones? It's kind of a reminder. So today, it's okay to remind God to, where you are and what you've done. I would be careful. There's a warning, there's a caveat, because Job pushes the envelope enough for God to say, where were you when I created everything? But at the same time, He does like that kind of communication. As a parent, I think people, when your kids challenge you, like, you said you're going to do this for me. I did everything that you said I was going to do. So, where's your end of the deal? And it's fair to ask God that. So, I know it's kind of a touchy subject, and people want to say, just believe God and just do what God says. But sometimes you just can't, because you've done all you can do. And He's not entering. So I pray that, that we all get to a place where we can faithfully and righteously question God in a place of darkness, so that He can finally turn on the light. All right, strivers, I hope you have a blessed day, and I will talk to you later.